This meeting is being recorded. Today's meeting features A Better Tent City by Nadine Green. And welcome, Nadine, to be here. Thank you for coming and to speak to us. Further, mark your calendar. Our next CUSJ meetings will be on Saturday, April 27, with Peter Larson about a very volatile subject, Israel, Palestine, Gaza, Hamas. What next? Saturday, June the 1st, is our annual general meeting with a keynote speaker, Juan Vargas of the Youth Climate Corps, which is supported by Seth Klein, one of our previous AGM keynote speakers. So our webinars are usually on the fourth Saturday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and whatever time zone you are in, adjusting to that. So see our Just News Express for more info. Any suggestions for topics and speakers are always welcome. And let us know, cusjmedia@gmail.com. And today's team of co-hosts are members of the CUSJ board. We have room for 3 more members on this wonderful team of CUSJ board. So we are looking forward to having some more, because the more we have, the easier the tasks are. So contact again, cusjmedia@gmail.com. And we are really rebuilding our CUSJ at the moment, Canadian Unitarians for Social Justice. And so now, Joy, would you like to do our traditional Unitarian chalice lighting?
I will. So I have a newfangled lighter run by a USP. Can you see it?
No.
And the words are, I think, very precious. When we listen, we hear someone into existence. As short as that. When we listen, we hear someone into existence. So be it.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Joy.
Yes, you're welcome.
We respectfully recognize and acknowledge the relationship that First Nations, Inuit, and Métis across Canada have with the land all Canadians live on and enjoy. This acknowledgement should only be a first step in eventually approaching restoring unceded land to the Indigenous nation or nations that previously had sovereignty over these lands. And now we're to the part that please share current activities of your social justice committees, and do you have anything about social justice and news? We allow about 3 minutes per person to share. Gary. You're muted.
Gary Campbell.
There you are.
I just wanted to speak about the at the end, during the question and answer period, at the end of our last webinar, the question was, there was a question about whether the land that First Unitarian in Ottawa were making available to Aboriginals would be gifted to them, give them ownership, or would it be a long-term lease? And I and the speaker said it would probably be a long-term lease, but in fact, the president, Brent Nicole, has responded to us and indicated that the intention is to sell it to an Aboriginal group for $1.
Oh, that's very good news. And I will certainly put that in the YouTube description of that meeting. So thank you very much, Gary. That's good to hear, because I was a little bit disappointed that maybe this wouldn't happen. So I'm very delighted. Anyway, great. Gary, go ahead.
Yes, our social action committee is partnered with a group in Montreal called Bread and Beyond, and they make sandwiches for the homeless. So we do that. We made 300 sandwiches last Sunday, and it was a very good way to bring in young people because they're very committed. You can get school kids coming in quite quickly if they feel they're doing some good. And so we deliver those. Those go to some of the missions in Montreal. And then we have the beyond part is where they get grants and donations. So the objective is to settle the homeless into permanent housing. And that's proceeding at a reasonable rate with some of the support from foundations. But as I mentioned in my note, we've connected with I actually got a homeless person in front of the supermarket last Sunday to come and help us, and he lives in a bush near the Montreal airport, Trudeau Airport, because he doesn't want to get mixed up with the centers downtown and which are rife with drugs and that. So that's interesting. And he has an apartment he can afford. He's a landscaper, so he works part of the year downtown, or part of the year he can afford an apartment, but the other part, this winter he's a snow shoveler and there wasn't much snow here, so he was forced to be homeless for the last 3 months. So we have a direct connection there, and we're trying to do something to help them as well.
That's great, Gary. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Can we help in some ways, or?
Well, we'll let you know. We're exchanging information. That's
Yeah.
one of the questions I have today is how do you circumvent the drug problem that is
Yeah. Okay.
so
Good.
common?
Doug.
Okay, so I just wanted to say I'm working the chair of the Waterloo Region Community Garden Network, and last year we established 20 acres on a long-term contract with a local agroecologist that's on a bus line. So we have 50 people, new Canadians, growing food out there for our local community. So we really have taken significant action in increasing the local food production. A lot of the women's resources are underfunded, so the health advantages are very clear in the community gardening. So the women's shelter will be developing community gardens this year. We have more gardens developing with the churches as well. And we have a request from a Syrian family for 9 acres I haven't filled yet. And we have requests from Hamilton for more land for community gardening, local gardening in Hamilton area that I haven't been able to fill yet as well. So basically call out to churches if they have land that could be used for community gardening. There's a lot of local Canadian, or sorry, new Canadians coming in that have a lot of skills in growing food and want to be able to grow food. Just how they define food insecurity is a little bit different than how we think about it. We often think about food insecurity as people not having enough money for food. And we try to provide food for them, which is great, has some advantages. But food insecurity is often defined by people as not being able to produce their own food. Having to go to a grocery store is food insecurity. And I know this from growing up on our farm where we were poor and money for food was not something we thought about. We thought, well, we should produce our own food, and we did that. And so being able to have access to land is the equity point. We're providing equity of opportunity through land to grow food so that people can achieve equity of ownership.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doug. I have a thing in this chat right now, and that's from Cecilia Brewer in Vancouver Unitarian to everyone. She cannot turn her camera on right now, but her social justice team asked her to promote that some Vancouver Unitarian members are participating in the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom Peace Caravan to Ottawa, and are looking to potentially stop in cities along the way and meet or speak with local congregation. She put the link in the chat so you can have a look at that. And there's an email from one of the participants that I can forward on if there is interest. Sure. Why don't you put it in the chat, Cecilia? And then we can all look at it later. And thank you so much for sharing. In the series, Let's Connect You Social Justice, our speaker today is the relentless Nadine Green, talking about the Better Tent City in Waterloo Region, Ontario. She co-founded this in 2020, giving homeless people their own little house to live in with dignity and safety. In fact, she had homeless people stay in her convenience store, but then some neighbors didn't like it, and she was evicted. The municipality came down on them, all that. It was not nice. Fortunately, she had help to set up this tent city, and she will all talk about this. So the people are part of the community and volunteering where they can. And Nadine says, we acknowledge that living in an 8 by 10 cabin is not the solution for the homeless crisis. It is, however, better than living rough. And if you see the photo in the lower left corner is Ron Doyle, who was very much involved in getting this started. And Nadine will talk about that, and people busy volunteering and helping and so forth. It's a busy place. So I would say, Nadine, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nadine Green. I'm the Living Site Coordinator of a Better Tent City. What is a Better Tent City? A Better Tent City is a sanctioned encampment of tiny homes. We have 42 tiny homes and 50 people with 50 guests. So each person are allowed to have a guest. So we basically have 100 people living in tiny homes. How did a Better Tent City get started? I owned a convenience store in downtown Kitchener. I saw people experiencing homelessness. And I first opened a drop-in center. People would come in and just sit and talk and stuff. I would hear their story. I would always ask, what happened? Why are you homeless? It always would be something happens, something minor, something major, and then they ended up on the street. Some of these people had homes, businesses, families, children. Anyways, one cold night after I was closing, the people were hanging out, and it would be like each night. Everyone knows that closing time, I closed my store at 4 a.m. So that they had time to stay into my store. And then they had a few hours to get to the soup kitchen, which at the time was open at 8 a.m. So I was closing my store. It was very cold. And I went into my car. It was so cold that when I got into my car, it felt like my fingers were frozen. So I had a talk with myself and with God, and I said, God, I can't leave these people outside in this cold. And I said, no, you can't, Nadine. I went back in and opened the door. I went back into the store, walk back into the store. And when I got there to open the door, they were like, are you sure? These are people who are homeless with nowhere to go, asking me if I'm sure if I want to do this. Are you sure? I said, yes. I opened the door, let them in. And that was the start of my pop-up shelter, underground shelter in downtown Kitchener. That went on for a bit until word spread. It got too big. I had up to 40 people living and sleeping in my store. I got evicted, like I got an eviction notice throughout all the time. I met Ron Doyle. He heard what I was doing. He came to meet. He brought Jeff Wilmer and a few other people. And we got to be good friends. And after I got evicted, which took a few months, I fought. I went to court and I got evicted. And throughout that eviction, I met with Ron and Jeff, and they asked if I would live and work at a better tent city. I said, what's a better tent city? They said, Ron said a better tent city is going to be where you're going to bring all of your homeless friends to come and live in my industrial site. I said yes without thinking, without knowing what it was going to be. I said yes, anything to help the homeless. I was fired up. And fast forward to now, when I moved to Ron's location, lot 42, we had tents. So I lived in a tent for 7 months. And after that, he got tiny homes. He was going to his cottage one day. He drove by, seeing somebody building some tiny homes. Some people call it garden sheds. I call it tiny homes. He stopped by. He had a conversation with the builder, ordered 12, and they came and we all moved into, well, 12 people moved into the homes. I waited until they got more homes to move into mine. I was one of the last ones to move into my tiny home. I just didn't want to have special privilege above the people, so I waited. Then I moved in. Fast forward to now, at the time we had 30 people. It went up to 50. And as I said, we have 50 people and 50 guests. We have lots of volunteers, we have lots of workers, and we're basically now a help center. People come in, we have a common area, the portables are open 24 hours. People come in, whoever you are, you can come in and get a meal. We have a bracelet program where if it's after 5 p.m. and you know somebody, then you sign up and you get a bracelet and you get to be in the portables all night. And I live on site and we're thriving. We have 8 people so far that have been into supportive housing. They come by, they still come by, volunteer and help out as much as they can. And that's about it. I'll take some questions.
Can you tell me how you're financing all of this? Who's paying for all the costs?
So we charge rent per unit. So each of the houses costs $390 per rent. So that's people that from OW and ODSP. So most of the people, all the people living at a better tent city get their rent paid by ODSP, OW.
Can
And
you,
we also get funding. So we get funding and we get grants. Laura Hamilton writes a lot of the grants. She's on the board. So she does a lot of grant writing, which we live on that. So grants, rent, and donations.
Nadine, this is Joy. Those
Hello,
letters,
John.
hello. Those letters that you use, can you spell them out? What are they representing?
ODSP is Ontario Dis
Ability.
Disability Support Program. So
Thank you.
people who are disabled, mental health or whatever, and it's hard for them to work. And
Yeah.
OW is Ontario Works.
So are they given the grants to the people? Don't go through the people to the payment of the housing. What is the pathway from resource to reception? Like, these people that are living in the tiny homes don't hand you money, do they?
No, we don't take cash.
No.
So the money has to go through. So the money is deposited in our account, a better tent city.
Yeah,
So
from
we
a
don't take cash.
government grant.
Yeah, no, not from the government, from the monthly payment. So each person, there's a set of people that are on ODSP and some
Okay.
is on OW. So the money goes directly to a better tent city. Because most times, if most of the people who experience homelessness, mental health, if they get the money, it's not everyone, but we had at first people would pay us cash and sometimes we never see the money. So we
Yeah.
just say, no, we're not taking no cash. The money has to go through OWODSP.
Thank you.
And it has worked because then we get the rent. You are welcome.
Rose?
You're muted.
You're muted? Yeah, there you go.
Well, Nadine, thank you for the astounding work that you do. And we as Unitarians, this is what we aspire to be, is how you have done this in living action. So thank you. My second question is practical. Where are the bathroom facilities for the tiny home? Is it a one facility, or is there a bathroom facility in each home?
No, we don't have it in each home because when they make the tiny homes, we don't have a permit. So that's how we got away with having 50 homes. If you have to make a house, the houses are 8 by 10s. So if you're making a building 8 by 10, then you don't need a permit. So the washrooms are not on the house. Even with my house doesn't have a washroom. So the we have a portable outside with 2 bathrooms and 2 showers. And we have the portables inside with 3 washrooms, one for staff. So it's basically 2 washrooms inside. And we have 3 inside, 1 for staff and 2 for the residents and guests.
Okay. And the third question is there a chemical abuse issue with your residents? And I suppose with some of them, and what do you do about that? Or what's the practical way of handling that?
Like, I don't understand, a chemical abuse?
Alcoholism and use of drugs amongst.
Yes, so so most of the people that live at a better density has some addiction issues. That's why most people are homeless. They have some
Yes,
addiction
yeah.
issues, whether. So what we do is we totally stay out of their lives. We are kind of like landlords because we have to set this up fast and we wanted people to have their own lives. So we are basically their landlord. So we stay out of their lives. But we do have a mobile truck. Sanguine comes twice a week. And we have SOS comes. We have other services come to see the people in their houses. And sometimes they use the portables to come and deal with their addiction if they want help, if they want to go to rehab. So we're basically landlords that are open for people to come in and get help.
Okay, thank you. And then we will go to Ed and Nora.
Hi, Nadine. Thank you very
Hello.
much. I think that you're
You're welcome.
filling an absolutely essential need. I am an extreme believer that the biggest impact you can have on people so that they can actually change their lives is to housing security. Food, of course, is always first, and health, and lots of agencies do the food. It's so great that the housing is there. So I applaud you. Guelph has some supportive housing, but we haven't gotten anywhere near trying to provide that transition between supportive housing and homelessness. So kudos. So my question is, I can see somebody staying there a very long time because I don't know how long the wait list is for supportive housing where you are. So do you also see this at some point where people begin to consider this their home, where they are, and it's not transition, it's their home?
Yes, so that's how we don't ever, oh, sorry. I don't know if you wanted to say more. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, no. I know I ended on a high note. That
Oh,
was
okay.
my question. Because I'm feeling very high about this.
So the thing with us is we never give people a time to move unless they're really bad, and then we have to evict them, which is we've only had to evict 2 people because of behavioral danger. If you abuse somebody, weapons, or if you have a weapon or a gun or anything, not if you have a weapon, if you hurt somebody, then of course, if the police is involved, then you have to leave. Because usually if you get charged, the police will have a no contact order and you have to leave, go somewhere else. But what I've seen, we have 2 people that just got housing, supportive housing. They've been living with us for 4 years. Because next month, April, is going to be 4 years since we've been established. It's taken 4 years for this person for these 2 people to get supportive housing. And they came back they came back within a few days, and all of the residents say, "Why are you here? You have a nice apartment. Why are you here?" And they say it in a nice way, not to feel offensive. And I even asked that question, why are you here? You have a nice place. He says, "Nadine, I'm lonely." And when he said that, I just came right down, lower than I am, came right down, and I said, "Oh my God, I never thought of that." He says, "I'm lonely. I have a nice apartment, but now I'm all by myself in my apartment, and that's why I come." And he comes over, he helps with the dishes. He's doing more work now than when he used to live there. Because the resident that lives at a better 10 city, they have to volunteer, do dishes, help with the cleanup. It's like their home. And he comes in and he's doing the dishes, he's doing everything. And I never thought of that loneliness. So that's what a lot of people, the problem a lot of people have when they get supportive housing is the support is there, but the loneliness comes after you get the support. You go into your nice big apartment and you're all alone. We have another couple people who got their apartments free and clear. We've had 2 couples who have their apartments free and clear, and they came over to a better 10 city. And I say again, why are you guys here? Nicely, not to let anybody feel offense. And the couple said to me, "We have an apartment, Nadine, but we have no food." So then they have the apartment, and now there's food insecurity. Because at a better 10 city, we have food 24 hours, always food for everyone. So now they have their apartment, the bills are high, and now they don't have food. And also a bit of loneliness too. So they come, and I pack them up with a hamper, tell them that they're always welcome, so that they don't feel, so that all that work that we've put into these people don't go to waste. We don't want to help them and then shun them and send them back out in the wilds, or send them back out with the mental health and all the other thing that comes with it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you. Is that okay, Gary?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah, Gary. Okay.
Well,
Sorry,
okay,
I
yeah,
forgot to ask the question.
okay.
Okay, Gary. Gary's next.
Yeah, thanks, Nadine. I had a few questions. I watched the film clip that came with this invitation, and at first, and you mentioned today that the land was a private land that you started out on, and then there's some reference to the fact that it's owned by the city. So maybe you could comment on that. And then I was
Yeah,
talking. Do you want me to ask the one by one? Maybe you could talk about that first. And
one by one. Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
the
So
land, yeah.
yeah, so the first when we first started when we first started Better 10 City, the land we had a willing landlord, which was Ron Doyle. So Ron Doyle said, "Bring all of your friends, all of your homeless friends, and you can come and live with me on my land." So he owned the land. So the government could not say anything because he was the landowner. Yeah, he was the owner of the land, so they said nothing to us.
But now is it owned by the government or is it still his land?
So now, so sadly, Ron Doyle passed away in 2021, and he did offer to sell lot 42 to the city. They turned it down, so he sold it to someone else. And we had to move twice. First, we moved to the snow dump on Battler Road. We could only stay for 4 months.
Oh,
And
nice.
then we moved to the school board that's owned by the school board property, which is owned by the city of Kitchener and the school board. So that's where we are now.
And how much land is there now?
I think it's about 1 acre. So it's 1 acre, and we have 42 tiny homes on that land.
Wow. Do you have any plans to expand?
We would love to expand, but we don't have the space, and
Okay.
we don't really want to move. It's kind of nice there. It's easy to get downtown, and we don't have plans to expand. No,
Mhm. But is
we
there
want other people to build tiny homes.
okay.
And what we do is, if sorry.
With the last question, is there kind of a community hall? You mentioned the indoor toilets and then also about the people moving away, if you could talk about how they transitioned away. But is there a community space where they can take showers?
Yes, so we have our showers are outside in a portable with 2 showers and 2 bathrooms. So that's outside. That was donated to us by Ron Doyle's son-in-law. Because when we moved to the school board, all we got was the plot of land. We didn't have running water. We didn't have power. So we had to do everything. So for the first week or two, the people didn't have power, including me, because I lived there. So people were using candles, and it was rough at first. It was so rough that a couple word was spreading around the site that I was gonna move, and I had to address. I said, "Who would say that?" They're like, "Well, we don't have washrooms, we don't have light, we we don't have power." So there's no way that you're gonna stay. And I said, I will never leave you guys. Like I would never want to leave when things are bad. And so I said, no, no, I'm here, and I am here on the journey with you guys. Thick and thin.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
I'm gonna restrict now one question per person. If you have another question, then you have to raise your hand again, okay? Then you come into sequence again. So after you have done your question, lower your hand and then raise your hand again to be in the sequence, because others want to ask questions too. Thank you. For now, we have Nancy, and the question should not be longer than about 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine, for what you're doing. Can you tell me what you plan on doing for the future for the tent city?
Thank you, Nancy. So now for the future, we're trying to see if we can get all the people that have been there from the beginning, which was from 2020, trying to get them into housing, whether supportive housing or apartment on their own. We have a few people that have been offered housing and they turn it down. So that's the plan really. We don't really plan ahead and trying to get more things to do with the people. We want to get somebody in that work with mental health. Because a lot of the people now that they're settled and they're home and they're eating healthy, the mental health, like you can see that they need help in other ways with mental health and trauma. And the trauma of homelessness does not go away. It takes years and years of hard work just to get back into the swing of things. So that's going to be our new plan, is to get people mental health and to get them ready for for the for the life that they came from. Maybe not all that life, but to even get back to that life that they came from.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, then we have Keith and Myrna.
Oh, what about Winnie? I think Winnie's ahead of me, but I'll go
Oh,
ahead.
well, I have you first on that, but
Okay.
will you yield to Winnie, or Winnie, do you want to go? That's
It's
fine.
okay. She can
Yeah,
go.
okay. Keith, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm certainly inspired by you, Nadine, that now that your story's unfolding, that you've been there for 4 years and having to move a number of times, that has to have been unbelievably difficult. I want to know how you deal with the situation of neighbors and the complaints of you being around them. How have you managed to navigate that one?
So what we do when we get complaints, we try to address it. The most complaints we get are from the school board. So the school board will call if somebody goes over their land, over their area, and usually people go in their bins, take out stuff and don't put the bins back. Just people searching for stuff that they can sell. So what other people deem as garbage is treasure to some of the people on the street. They can zoom into things and say, wow, I can get some money from this. So that's the issue that we have. And whenever that happens, we will get a video from the school board of the person. So we'll know who did the crime. Well, it's not a crime. Who went over there. So then I'll address, you're not allowed to go to the school board, or you're not allowed to go to this site. These are our neighbors, and you just have to be good neighbors. And that's one of the rules that we have. Just be good neighbors and stay out of the neighbors' area. And if it gets too bad, then the neighbors will have to call the police. We can only do what we can do.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and then we have Nora, I think. Oh,
Hi.
where's Winnie gone?
Oh, thank you. And Nadine, I just can't thank you enough for all that you're doing. And I just think your persistence and your generosity, it's phenomenal. I wonder if through your selflessness and people seeing that it was successful and the huge obstacles that you overcome, has that spread anywhere else? Has any other towns or villages or anywhere else picked up on what you've been doing and come to see this and actually implemented it, not just looked and said, oh, well, we can't do that, but actually been inspired to do that?
Oh, yes, we have a lot of people. We have Hamilton. There is a Hamilton Hats program. They actually built a tiny home community. Kingston, Hamilton came to see us. Kingston came to see us. We have people as far away as BC, Vancouver, Guelph. I think Guelph came, Simcoe, um, Peterborough came. So we have tons of people. Somebody as far away as um, somewhere in the US came to visit our site
And have they
and like
actually
our
done, have they actually then created something like what you have managed to do? Any
I'm
of
not
them?
sure has a house going on. It's not fully open yet. Kingston is up and running. Peterborough is up and running. I don't know if the US is as yet, if any one of them. But like maybe they use our model, but they haven't told us anything. But as far as BC, we're all looking at having a model like this, where they can take in people and care for them and still have them live, still have those people live their own life and not be in the shelter system.
That's terrific. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I heard that there was a billionaire in New Brunswick, was it Fredericton? Who is starting a better or city or whatever. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I heard about it. So we probably inspired him because, as I said, we've met a lot of people. They come and we show them and we tell them everything. We're open because we want to help all these people. We don't charge any money, and we tell them our secret, give them recipe, and we don't even check if they do it. So maybe who knows where he got the idea from? Probably from a better tent city.
Right. I believe that too. Thank you. Winnie, finally.
Thank you. Nadine, I just want to say first, I live directly above and north of a tent city and a camp in Toronto. And one thing I've noticed with them from the beginning is they seem to have their own community. And so when you guys leave, they're leaving their community. And that might be part of why they're coming home again. I keep thinking when we put people in shelters, permanent homes, we should move them together because that's what they're used to. And if they're going to step out, they better. But my question for you, having seen 2 fires below me, and I know the other encampments have fires, how are you heating these places? Like, how do you keep it heated?
How do we what, sir?
How do you heat the mini homes, the homes? Because our guys they've gotten generators from somewhere. I don't want to know where. And I certainly know that the propane tanks came from one of our hotels. And those propane tanks eventually explode. And it's not pretty. Luckily, I don't think anyone's been hurt below me, but I've heard of somebody was hurt elsewhere in the city.
Winnie, may I ask a clarifying question? Are you talking about real tents or are you talking about tiny houses?
Well, in the houses, how do you provide heat? In the tents down there, I know how they're providing heat.
Yeah. So they have electricity.
So-
So Nadine, there you go.
So in our houses, we have a space heater, including my house, because as I said, I do live at a better tent city. So we have just a space heater, a plug-in electric heat, and
Okay.
it warms the house. There's times I have to climb down from my bed because my bed is pretty high. It's like a bunk bed,
Mhm.
but at the bottom is storage because the houses are tiny, so you got to make space. So sometimes when my house gets too hot, I have to climb down and turn the heat off. So it does heat the house up very well.
Okay, so that's
So
what they missed here.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
There are some questions in the chat, and one question is, how is the cleanliness of the site managed?
So we have two site worker. We have a site superintendent, Brad, and we have site workers and volunteers. And believe me, it's every week they work all day just going around making sure the place is clean. And even when they do, is something about homelessness. They're they find treasures in garbage. So people will just get stuff. We think it's garbage, but it's not to them. So this site superintendent goes around each day and just remind people not to overflow the site. We all have a little space where we can keep as much stuff, but if it goes over, then they try to remove the excess stuff and put it in the dumpster. Usually when they do, people go back and get their stuff back, but they just try to remind people of not to overload the site.
Okay, Rona, thank you very much. Rona.
Hi, Nadine. Thank you so much for your incredible work. My question is, I'm just here to learn, and I wonder if you would mind sharing a little bit more with us about the main services that are especially needed and how they're lacking in terms for people experiencing homelessness. I suppose mostly substance abuse treatment and mental health treatment, and how you wish that the community would rally, what we should be rallying for in terms of helping people experiencing homelessness. What would be the most important things, if that seems like a fair question?
To me, from what I have seen, the most important things is to get people back in touch with their family. I've seen a couple of the guys, like their parents will check on site, get my phone number, call, and when they talk to their parent or a family member, I see the feeling, like it's a different feeling for them, a different movement. So first of all, getting people in touch with their family, and that's a good part of the healing process. It's calling your family, even if you think that, oh, they're addicted, they're this. Hearing from your family is a big healing for the guys. Also, we have the Sanguine mobile truck comes in. We have Aqua. We have, sorry, I'm just something that's came about. Yeah, like we have Aqua that comes, but I mean, it's still not enough. We do, for us, we need more mental health workers coming in. We haven't had that yet. We just have the Sanguine mobile truck. They have a social worker on site. I think he's overworked because it's just so many people coming. We have over 50 residents and we have 50 guests, and we have more people that just drop by for food. We need more help.
May I ask just to clarify one thing, if that's okay, Ellen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I think, Aqua. You mentioned two trucks that come, and I'm just not familiar with what those programs are.
So it's a Sanguine mobile bus. So it's kind of like a doctor traveling around, but it's not necessarily the doctor. There are nurses, nurse practitioner, just, and if when because a lot of people experiencing homelessness previously, they're not homeless anymore when they live at a better city. But when they get to the hospital, they feel like they don't get treated properly. Maybe the hospital and them just don't get along some way, some form, some shape. So usually the mobile bus, if somebody needs to go to the hospital, they will go with them just to help navigate the system for the workers and for the residents. So that is where the mobile truck comes in. And Aqua comes in to bring in safe supply, needles and stuff, so people don't reuse needles. They have some people may go in the garbage and pick somebody's needle up, maybe reuse it. So that's where Aqua comes in and bring needles, safe supplies, condoms, and just stuff to help with their addiction. Not to help with, to make their addiction safer. That's what they do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before
You're
I
welcome.
go to Etanora,
I just wanted to ask what your biggest joys, like what has like made you feel this has really all been worthwhile, all my horrendous efforts. The challenges with mental health and everything I know are enormous. So I just wanted something, what has brought you joy?
Everything about the better city has brought me joy, but my biggest joy, I mean, I get joy every day, but the one night I went inside the common area and our portables are open 24 hours. It's like a self-help, um, not a self-help, like it's like a health center. People come in for food, they come in to talk, mental health, body health, everything. And I went inside the portables and there was just everybody in there, visitors. There was a ton of visitors because mostly the homeowners are inside their house. But there's a ton of visitors just passing through, travelers, and they were all standing around. Some were standing around by the juice area. We have a juice area. There's like 6 guys around drinking juice, talking and laughing with their backpacks on their back, their jackets on. That's to show you that they don't have a house. Then on the other side, we have a bread side where people can make sandwiches, peanut butter jam. So there was another 6 guys standing around with their backpacks, their jackets, talking and just talking. And then we have another side where the dinner is, and there's another. And as I said, you can tell with the backpacks on, and they were just there eating, and everybody standing around talking and laughing. And I was just in awe, in awe. And just, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Where else can you go at 2 a.m. to get some food, to get some coffee, to get a sandwich without having to hear, sorry, the kitchen is closed, or get out of here. No, it was just, and I just stood there and I'm like, oh my God, a better tent city has has made have made it. This to me is success. Just seeing, and they all turn around and say, Nadine, what is wrong? Like I had a little tears was in my eyes, and I said, nothing. I'm just happy. Just seeing that, knowing that we're just helping everyone. There are no
So
barriers coming.
is it everyone? Anyone can drop into that area? They don't have to know somebody.
Anyone can
Just drop in.
anyone can drop in, as long as you behave right. Not to behave, like as long as you're behaving, yes, you can get some food, you can sit down, watch TV, and it's just that's it's just amazing. And there's other stuff. It would take forever for me to tell you all the good stuff. If you ever want to see, you can come and visit. We're open 24 hours. Preferably come in the daytime, but
Yeah.
you can come for a tour just to see what we have going on.
Thank you.
Great.
You're welcome.
I have a few things in the chat. First of all, there's a request to open up your private chat because some questions were answered by one of our co-hosts. So if you can go to the chat and see if there's anything for you especially, that would be good. For the rest, we have here a remark from Rose that this is a model that can be used all over Canada. Does anyone have access to CBC on this? And Joy said there was a program called Tiny Tent City, and she will still research to see what's going on. And there is a link here from Doug for London CTV News, so you could have a look at that too. What I can do is I save the chat, and then later on, when I send out the announcement of the YouTube that will be there in probably about a week after editing everything, then we will also have some of these remarks and links there. Another question is it important to be close to the city? Do most of the residents visit the city daily, Nadine?
Hang on. Yes, it's important to be, it's not good to have a site where houses are. We always knew that. That's why where we are is good, but we're far away, but we're still close. Because people cut through the parking lot and then they get to the bus. It's ideal if it's a little bit ways out. It's not good to have an encampment, tiny home encampment beside houses.
Right.
It's probably, it could work, but to us it's so being away, but you still have to be close. Our site is perfect. That's why somebody asked me parking lot and walk just a little ways, and then there's a bus and the train is just a little ways down.
That's perfect. There is also a remark here from Laila. City of Kelowna has built 60 tiny homes and is building 60 more. Their social action group needs to check if there's any way we can help. And John Howard is running first one that is just opening. Laila, you want to say anything more of that or on that or?
So if I want to say any more of that
Yeah, sure.
on the tiny home, if there's going to be more open.
Yeah, and there is no, it's more for Laila who is
Okay.
involved with the Kelowna one. Is she still here? Yeah, she is. Laila? There you are.
No, I don't really have any more to say because I have to look into it. I just realized that we could probably be of some assistance. And Keith, who has his hand up next door, can be part of this conversation as well because we work together. So
Okay.
anyway, I think we just need to find a way to help.
Yeah, good.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. And our church is also has also contributed a little bit to our Better Tent City here in Kitchener. Keith, can you say have a question and say something about that?
Sure. What's happening in Kelowna is that it's a city initiative, so that it doesn't have the openness that you've got, Nadine. It doesn't have the extended stay where people can stay as long as they want. So your model to me is far, far superior to what Kelowna's trying, but they're trying. I mean, they're making some efforts. But you know, to find someone like you to sort of manage the thing, that's pretty critical and difficult to do. But I would like to ask if the coordinator here, Ellen, if you could email us some contact information for Nadine so we could reach out and be of some help to her, because we need to support something that's really working.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll do that. And as I say, when the recording comes online, I will send out some of the things that were in the chat, and I will certainly get Nadine's contact, and then you can see what's going on. There is also a website. It's called bettertentcity.org. So that will be at the end of this this meeting. We have some more things in the chat, if I can find it. And oh, Nadine just put her phone number in the in the chat. So I will also forward that later on. Okay, so Cecilia is saying, wish they would do this model in Vancouver. There's one sanctioned tent encampment, but they're constantly being moved. And the city says they have fire safety issues and unhygienic waste, etc. And the only thing that I could say on that, well, if they would have tiny homes with electricity, the fire would be basically not as big an issue. And the volunteers are, you know, getting rid of all the waste. So I think the city, yeah, I wish also that they would do that in Vancouver. Nadine, what can you say about that? Probably the same thing.
Vancouver has a whole lot of money. They can do that.
Yeah.
They can set up for washrooms for people. Everyone needs a washroom, laundry facilities, so people don't have to throw their laundry in the garbage. We did that with the portables. Our portables have a laundry room at the back. We have the kitchen. We have a common area where people can sit all in one. We put 3 portables together. They can do it. It's not impossible. They can come to us. We'll show them the model. We're not going to charge them any money, and they can do it and help people off the street. So Canadians don't have to live like this.
No.
Not even Canadians, human beings, people.
Yeah.
Whether you're a refugee or not, it's beyond being Canadian. Just people should not have to live like this in this country.
No, there is enough money that should be redistributed. Anyway, there's also a question, is there a path to permanent housing? You said something about that already. And the reconnecting with their families as well.
We're just waiting for them to, Lutherwood comes once a week, but you know, they're coming. It's taken a little bit of time, but most of the people who live at a Better Tent City, they're declining some of the houses. So it's usually the visitors, because we have visitors that stay around there, are getting some of the houses, which is good.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. In Kitchener, we are actually getting money together to get you a stove. So that is what at the Unitarian Church congregation. So
Thank you.
No, I don't know if you knew about that, but
no, I didn't know.
Okay, so they're working on that too. Things are all happening sort of invisibly. It's fantastic, actually, that things are happening. Sorry, Gary has a question.
I'm just wondering if you have a sustaining grant that pays for electricity and some food and supplies.
So we get grants all the time. We're getting a grant from the region. We're waiting for that. They're giving us $200,000, and we don't have it as yet, but we get grant from United Way and from a few other places. But United Way always gives us money every year.
Okay, thank you. And Joanna has a question.
8 by 10 is pretty small. You can fit a bed in there. Do people have a kettle maybe to make a cup of tea, or do you supply a bed in these little homes, or?
Yes, so we give a bed, a fridge. We don't give TVs, but we give a bed, a fridge, a microwave,
Oh,
and sometimes people will donate a couch. But with my house, I have a couch, a bed, a microwave. I don't have a fridge. I had a fridge, but I gave my fridge away because I just go outside in the portables and get stuff from the fridge inside. Yeah, so but the tiny homes, everything is squeezed in. It's pretty cute when you have to do what you have to do, then you just make it work.
is there a window?
Yes, we have a window on the houses. Yeah, we have windows. We do have windows.
Okay.
It's probably more roomier than a tent, I would say.
It is it is roomier than a tent because I lived in a tent for 7 months. Indoor tent. But yeah, it is roomier.
Nadine, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for coming and having your questions. I really appreciate it, and it's quite amazing what is happening. It's so positive, you know. Yeah. So great. Thank you so much, Nadine, and I will.
You are welcome. I had the best time answering questions, and if anybody want to know anything, they can always check. If you want to share my number with anyone, it's welcome. It's no problem.
Okay.
I have my number on. I always get calls from people, and I said, "Where you get my number?" Nicely, I always say nicely. They're like, "It's on the website." I said, "When I check online, like my number is there." Like I smile, because I always wonder, how does everybody have my number? And then it's on the website. It's funny.
Yeah, people are very inventive, but yeah, websites are good for things like that. So
Yeah. So we're always willing to share any information that can help with homelessness. We are ready and willing to help.
you're certainly an inspiration. I hope this will get to go around the whole country. But as you said, also, you know, it's not a permanent solution for the crisis. And let's hope that it all works out all right. And anyway, the Extinguishing the Chalice.
This is one of our most important webinars we've had. They've all been exceedingly important. This one is one, certainly up at the top. And thank you, Nadine. And my first words opening were, when we listen, we hear someone into existence. And Nadine, you've done that in spades for humanity. And I want to say, so when we have been heard into existence, we rejoin the human family. And that's how I'll close with this. Keep the flame of that idea burning in our hearts as we go forward toward the Easter weekend. Next week could be in our minds on a Unitarian level of humanity, resurrecting humanity in little pockets of our little worlds. And so may it be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have some resources. A bettertentcity.org is for more info. And then the Canadian Unitarian Social Justice, we have a website, CUSJ.org, that everybody knows because they went registering there. And then there is also a /just news you can actually subscribe to our newsletter on CUSJ.org. And there's also a discussion forum, CUSJ forum. And if you want to be on there, you can either talk to CUSJmedia@gmail.com or president@CUSJ.org. We will include that also in our newsletter. It always has that. YouTube channel is YouTube/@CUSJ Media. So you can see all the previous webinars that we have done. And then we have a Facebook group. So you can have a look at that, the CUSJCA. So thank you very much, and keep on working on justice and compassion, and stay safe. Thank you very much, Nadine, and everybody for coming, and have a great Saturday. And we have a lot of thank yous here in the chat as well, which I probably will share also with that newsletter. So thank you. And I will now end the meeting, and have a good Saturday. Bye-bye.